Hello and welcome. My name's Vicki Haspels. I'm the Conscious Mystic, and here is Wednesday Soul Purpose Coaching using the elements of Soul Life Coaching, of which I'm a qualified Soul Life Coach. We're going to deep dive basically into what the weekly forecast means. We're going to get a bit deeper. We're going to get a bit sort of ugly crying about it. We're going to a bit more honest, but also to bringing up all that stuff that is very challenging and how we can recognize it and move through it and what's in it for us. So the first element we're looking at is the state of our being. Of the four states we are working through, again, the psychological self. In other words, how the mind is perceiving and interpreting our world, but also how the mind wants to pull us apart out of fear. The mind, the thoughts will lie to us, and so therefore it is why it's so beneficial to allow critical thinking, self-awareness, connecting with your intuition, so that when those fearful thoughts pop in, we can look at them objectively rather than falling into that they must be true. We can say, well, is this really my reality? So that is a lifelong job, by the way. So it's not something that can be overcome quickly. However, the forecast for this week, the energy working this week, allows us again to connect to the psychological or the mind part, the thought part of our process, so that we can again bring those things up to the consciousness, into the light. Are they as deep and dark as we are believing in ourselves, or are we going to look at those thoughts in the light, look at them objectively and consider, oh yeah, that's what I believe and that's not what I believe, and using that critical thinking to then move forward. The next element we're looking at is the emotional bruise, or the way we are unconsciously expressing that part of ourselves this week. In other words, the mind part of us may be trying to look at things objectively, but this is the deep part of us, the conditioned part of us, that we are bringing up to the surface so that we can recognize how we are filtering our decision-making process. These expression bruises are something that comes from, as I said, conditioning, generational trauma, past lives. It is something that is sedimented in us. It cannot be shut down, but if we bring it to the surface and recognize it and accept it, that is part of who we are, and it's on the surface this week. So acceptance is a really vital part of moving forward and moving through the process. Then we're going a long way to helping out. So this week it is abandonment. So you might recognize some of the symptoms of abandonment as we go along. Like, we carry extra responsibilities that don't belong to us. We have difficulty accepting a refusal when we ask for something. It's like, oh, that person doesn't like me. It's a lot of drama, like soap opera type of drama, over the top. We may cast ourselves as the victim and blow things out of proportion. That's the abandonment bruise playing out. It can be in varying degrees. It's not always over the top, but this week we're going to feel uncomfortable because those parts of us are up to the surface, and we can deny them all we like. But that's the discomfort. And when we talked about the psychological is going to come in and try and justify it or trick us. So again, if we use our critical thinking, look at things objectively and accept that this is part of who we are, then we're a long way to helping us through this process. And once we accept this part of ourselves, it no longer rules our decision-making process. So when we are working in the positive or to our betterment, or in the positive flow of the abandonment bruise, we know that it is accepted now and we're working with it. When we are interested in others and how they feel, we have a heightened sense of intuition, and we know how to ask what we need, what we want, without and if we get a no, it's okay. We understand that. we display our artistic talent, because that beautiful flow, as much as a little bit of drama in there, that is also lends itself to our creativity. We are cheerful, we are sociable, we are persevering, and we are abandonment bruises make great friends. Okay, so the next element we're looking at is how we are presenting ourselves this week through the process. How we behaving is our sense of security. Now that's not unusual, because the Emperor was in play in the weekly forecast. So a sense of security is how, like, we might be feeling a little bit insecure. That's like the Justice card and the Emperor card are perfect for helping us feel more secure. That's why they are in the mix this week. I don't feel safe. We might be on guard. And so the psychological element means that to mind our thoughts and not blow things out of proportion, and not to jump at shadows, and to look at things again critically. So we will be very much feeling insecure or worried about our security or our place in the world. That's how we will be behaving. And the next element we're looking at is how we are going to how we can move forward. What can we do, or how can we be in order to work through this process? So the elements that came up were communication and, again, security. So in other words, how we can be is that we can be open, like, talk about what we need. Remember, the abandonment bruise was like, if we ask for something, we may overreact if we get a no. So again, finding somebody that you can actually talk to and get some reasonable responses from. Don't filter it through the abandonment bruise, where you're going to look for people who are going to blow things out of proportion or actually give you a no. So that drama side might be in place there as well. The other thing we're looking at is security. So again, look for if you're feeling insecure or unsupported, where are those gaps? I think that we're looking to bring in some external support by the looks of the elements of this week. So looking for external support where you do have support and security, until you can feel like you're back on your own 2 feet and that abandonment bruise has settled down a lot. Okay, so now we're looking at the healing aspect, and there are a lot of things. I have to read them off my book. A lot of things came up for the healing aspect, which is what we're going to cover on Friday, but I'm going to run through them and just give you a brief. So we're looking at our inherent character. So that comes with self-acceptance. In other words, we are who we are. We can't change the person that we are. Self-acceptance allows the best parts of our self to come forward, and there's nobody gets to judge that other than you, by the way. So by accepting our inherent character, or the other elements at play will not come and try and shut that part of you down, and you'll get the best of yourselves, of ourselves. There's an element here of worldview. So this tells me that we are looking at current life recall. In other words, a healing, the best healing for this week, if we're looking at it, is to do a walkthrough of our current life, the past parts of our current life, and looking at those past parts of us that are coming up to affect us. And the other one, counselling, of course, throat chakra. We'll do some throat chakra healing that came up before about communication. So finding the right people to talk to, ones that you trust, not ones that are going to tear you down or make you feel less than. The other one was referral. So in other words, that to me is finding somebody who is of a professional nature to help you through this process. Now, I'm not saying you have to do it all this week, but the elements of this week and the energy at play this week will highlight parts of us that we can't fix ourselves, or we can't work through on our own. But anyway, that's the Soul Purpose Coaching Soul Life session for this week commencing the 22nd of May 2023, as a complement to the weekly forecast. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on Friday for Friday Healing. My name's Vicki Haspels. I'm the Conscious Mystic. Much love from me. Bye.